morning, good morning, good morning. It is Friday. Whoop, whoop. Haven't done that all week. This is Courageous Coffee Talk, and it is Friday. My name is Angel Goebel, and I am a mama. I am a amazing wife. And I am a leader of the Higher View Nation of Women. I absolutely love this journey of what I get to do, and that is to come on, do live videos as I am figuring out and processing through my journey as I come alongside women to walk them with their journey and their process and who they are. So I just, I love it. I love it. Anyways, so good morning, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and share my coffee cup. You have seen this one before, but it is bright and it is yellow and it's Good Morning Sunshine. I had to add some more color. I don't have enough color today. We've got orange earrings, pink hair, pink lips, a tie-dye shirt, and a yellow coffee cup. Sunshine. I like color. Yeah. No. I do though. I really like color. And I've shared that on one of my fun facts about me. But I was like, what am I going to share today? About a fun fact. And for some reason it kept popping in my head that I used to really enjoy 80s tunes. Like I was, born in 1983 and Steve Perry, which that's a whole nother funny thing in itself. So let's just share that today as a little fun story. So my dad's name is Steve Perry, right? But you didn't know that. I know I said right. And I was in middle school. So if you know, the lead singer in Journey is Steve Perry. Different Steve Perrys, but this is a fun story. So I was in middle school. I was in 7th or 8th grade. I think 8th grade. And my teacher, we had a new history teacher. And he started looking at the stuff and he was there and he went through the lists and he goes, Angel Perry. And he kind of looked and then he was, another day going through my parents' names, Priscilla and Steve Perry. I just gave a lot of information away on. Well, that's fun. Anyways, Steve Perry. And he's like, oh my goodness, is your dad Steve Perry? And I'm like, yeah, he's Steve Perry. He's like, no, like the Steve Perry. And I'm like, yeah, the Steve Perry? Didn't know what the heck the man was talking about. He's talking about Journey, Steve Perry. And oh my goodness, when my dad came in to pick me up one day, like the man was so disappointed when he realized that my dad was not Steve Perry, but he is Steve Perry. So I got to ride that one out for like almost a good month in class that my dad was Journey from Steve Perry. Never said he was, but I didn't quite deny it. So just a fun little story. Anyways, so just funny. Anyways, so with that said, let's go ahead and go on what we're going to talk about today. So I put in here to be unique. That's total bold courage. Like, I talk about that a lot, all the time. To be the authentic you. It's so important to be the authentic you. And to be unique and designed exactly the way that you were created to be designed. I think that's where a lot of us, as we're figuring out who we are, as we're figuring out, do we want pink hair? Do we want to wear, tie-dye or jean jackets? It's totally up to you. It's up to you. So to be unique, it takes bold courage to stand out in who you are. And I think it's cool because as I'm figuring out who I am and you're figuring out who you are, let's have fun along the way. Let's laugh. Let's have joy. Let's inspire others to step out in that bold courage, to find their uniqueness, to find out the things that they love doing. There is such a molding of what we should and should not be. And I will tell you today, it's okay to totally be who you are. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And I love that. I love that. The more intimate I become in spending time with my Father, with Jesus, the more I start to realize and understand that He has designed and created me to be completely different. And sometimes to stand out, sometimes to have the loud voice, sometimes to make silly jokes that no one laughs at, sometimes to step back and just watch, sometimes to be silent. So it takes me into this thing that I read today on this fabulous lady's page. I started reading this story, and there was a story about the facts of where the word God comes from and the original word of what it was and the spelling of what the original word is. WHWH, or sorry, YHWH. It's like breathing. Yeah. Wah. And my point of saying this, through time we've added the A and the E, Yahweh. They say for vowels. And there's a whole story behind this. And I'm not going to read the whole article, the story behind it. But something that stood out as I was reading this today, let's see. We'll forget it, so we'll just read it. There was a moment when Moses had the nerve to ask God his name. God was gracious enough to answer, and the name he gave, recorded in the original Hebrew, was YHWH. Over time, we've added the A and the E because of the preference for vowels, but scholars and rabbis have noted that the letters YHWH represents breathing sounds. Breathing sounds, okay? When pronounced without interviewing the vowels, it's breathing sounds. So I want you to think about this. This is what hit me. So a baby's first cry, his first breath speaks the name of God. Baby has no words, but when it first cries out and breathes, it speaks the name of God. A deep sigh calls his name, or a groan or grasp that is so too heavy to mere words. The very breath is giving constant knowledge to God. Likewise, a person leaves this earth with its last breath. God's name is on his lungs. So my point of sharing this, as I read this morning, it was very grabbing to me, because have you ever been, and I hope not, but we all walk through them, in such a moment of anguish and pain, or a time in your life where you had no words to speak, none, and all you could do was breathe. So when I read that, I'm like, yeah, there's been times where I have cried out and I had nothing more to cry but to breathe. And I will never forget in a moment, and it's a very hard story to share, and I've shared a little bit with you, but I was in a moment where I was laying in my bed and something was about to take place that no mother ever wants to go through. ever. And I knew it was happening. And there was nothing I could do to stop it. And I just began to breathe because I was holding my breath, and I heard the Father loud and clear. He said, breathe. I'm as close as the air that you breathe. Just breathe. And so when I read this today, how that spoke to me, how it made complete sense to me that the breath to breathe would be the Father's name. There's so much detail. There's so much layers. There's so much of how our Father works that we can't even begin to fathom or understand. This may just be a piece, which it probably is, to the story and how things work. But that was huge to me today, because there's times where I remember being a kid and thinking to myself, what happens if they can't say Jesus? What happens but and we're already 11 minutes in, but there's one more story. I was a young girl. I had my best friend. We were raised with each other since 2 and 3. And when I was 12 years old, and she was 12 years old, she passed from cancer. She got cancer when she was 7 or 8. And I spent the whole time with her in and out of the hospital. And I remember being there on the bed with her when she took her last breath. I literally was there with her. And I remember that feeling of hearing her breath. And I'm kidding you not. As today, as I sat here in the 2 moments of my life of anguish, the word, that in those 2 moments, the Father reminded me of the breath and how she spoke the last word, God, out of her mouth with her breath. And so I just want to leave you with knowing that even as you breathe out of your mouth today with no words, just breathe. What you are doing and what you are speaking out of your mouth is complete power and authority just by you breathing. I don't know if you're going to walk away with what I'm trying to give you, but I'm telling you, there's so much to that. So don't want to make this too much longer. But I always love to say, remember to grab your pen and your paper today. Remember to write things down. Remember to take pauses and moments through the day to spend time with you, to spend time with the Father, to spend time with writing those thoughts down. It's so important. You're taking those thoughts, you're putting vision to paper, right? And remember, it doesn't matter what you didn't accomplish yesterday. It doesn't matter what you got to accomplish tomorrow, because the lists are long on both sides. All that matters is what's in your hands today, the tools that you have. Use what's in your hands today. Do your best today, right? And I always love to leave you with affirmations. Every single one of you on here is beautifully created. Each and every one of you is uniquely made. You are bold. You are courageous. You are amazing. You are brilliant. You are strong. And you are loved. So go out today, be courageous, inspire someone, and love. All right. Have an amazing day. And it's Friday. Whoop, whoop. All right. Love you guys. I will talk to you soon. All right. And in the comments, put anything that stood out to you. Let's have a conversation.